And you're allied to Tonalo, who are saying no. Cool. Declare war. And our objective is going to be Campeche because it's so far away. Confirm. Let's go straight for the capital. Family ties. For the past couple of days we've been entertaining a guest from the royal court of Naples, the once home of the Queen Consort. After a full week of hunting, feasting and gossiping with the family, Carlotta's cousin is finally returning home to Napoli. Good. They like us. See you, Octavian. Who joined the league? That's a good point. So Venice and Bavaria are on the Catholic side. No major nations have really declared for either side yet. Well, I'm definitely going to go for the Catholics. We're going to... No, can I not even join? Can't do it while we're at war. Remind me when we're not fighting anymore. Tax the sugar. England's declared war on Pacayes. We lose a bunch of manpower because reasons. Don't really need you standing here causing me attrition, but it's fine. Whatevs. Totonac did join. I thought they said they weren't going to. There goes the capital. Let's go chase down the army and kill it. And then basically the rest of this can be pretty much done by Nuevo Castillo. And this army is entirely infantry. We have no artillery out here. Okay, that's something we'll need to change. Rebels have crossed the borders. We're going to kill the rebels, because those are the rebels that rose up here initially. -2 to kill them, but these rebels aren't very strong. Return home. And we're going to start coring the last of those provinces. Perfect! Meanwhile, Nuevo Castillo is doing a lot of damage. Hispaniola has arrived. And we should be able to finish this area off pretty quickly. Anyone in chat know why the Diplo point increase button has completely disappeared? The focus selection. Shouldn't have. Are you sure it hasn't just greyed out? Did I see what you said about Mali? You originally said you wanted to take the central trade in the estuary from them in Western Africa for the trade power. It's called Gabu. Yeah, that's not Mali though, that's Gabon. Oh, they lost it to Mali. No, Benin. Benin's what I wanted. Oh no, you're right. I did want Gabu. And Kaor. Slave trade with the Europeans. Local goods produced. Well, for the moment I'm not that bothered. It's mostly going to be about just colonizing lots. And speaking of colonizing lots, we are paying 22 ducats in colonial expenses now. But I'm okay with that. So Tlaxcala is ready to make peace. Now who can we actually separate peace out here? We can't separate peace anyone, so it has to be a deal with Tlaxcala. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and siege everything down and take the lot. Our admiral just died. We can do colonial investments, but I don't want to do that, not just yet. Instead, I want to continue building workshops and temples where appropriate. In fact, that workshop in Toledo is more valuable. And so are the workshops now. Okay. Royal marriage has changed. Gabon's producing slaves. Naples! I would like to get another royal marriage with you, please. That would be awesome. Thank you. And I don't need to be building a supply network in Syac anymore. I think instead I'm going to start fabricating on Portugal again. Although Portugal is suddenly feeling a little bit more hospitable towards us. Although they still have the minus 79 from opposing claims. Nope, sorry Portugal, this is just not good enough. And now I need to wait for the 20 days for our diplomat to get home. Colony is self-sustaining, so we can start a new colony. So Barra can recall. And I would love to send you here to Bonnie. Unfortunately, those rebels would immediately capture the colony. So instead, I think I'm going to send to Matsolo, just to stop anyone else taking those coastal areas. And then we're going to explore East China Sea. Go. And our diplomat has arrived. So let's go and make our deal with Tlaxcala, because I want basically everything. This would do. It would piss off the locals, but I don't really care. Coalition with them doesn't mean anything to me. This will cause a lot of overextension, but this territory should immediately go to the colonial nation. So this is fine. And then I suffer the overextension, not them. They would still need to core it. Double check which of the gold provinces. None of them. Gold are over here, and we'll have an adjacency to them. Fine by me. So we take all of that. That land immediately goes to Nuevo Castillo. They are then responsible for coring. That's fine by me. Okay. So, Aztecs. Hello. How's it going? And Trotzil is now completely surrounded by us, but I think the next war is going to have to be against the Aztecs. Because I do want that gold, and I definitely want to beat the Portuguese to it. Portuguese have already got more than I do, in that they have a province. Did I capture Barney with the Colonial War? Colonial War hasn't happened. Speaking of Colonial Wars, I need to declare my interests for the Catholic side. So it's now Bohemia, Cologne, Mainz, Trier, Constance, Venice, Trent, Hesse, Bavaria, Scilly, Saxony, Munster, Utrecht and myself versus Helra, Ingolstadt, Dithmarschen, Hungary, Brunswick, Bayreuth, Strasbourg, Magdeburg, Berg, Friesland, Brandenburg, Bosnia, Augsburg and Memmingen. None of the other major powers have declared. Like France and the Commonwealth are going to be the interesting ones. Yeah, the only major power that we'll be fighting against is Hungary. And so long as Naples and France join our side, then none of my alliances are in danger. France might well join the Protestants, though, to shift the balance of power. And yeah, this Venice has had an amazing game. Like a really, really good game. Let's keep on doing those. Now the other query I have is how close are we to Diplotech? Because the next Diplo level is a huge one. Actually, so is the next military. That's the workshop icon, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. It used to be. Right? Although I do remember this has been the workshop for a while. That icon definitely was something else. It was not the soldiers' households. What was that icon for? It was the workshop. Nah, that icon wasn't farm estate. It was something more common. Oh, that was the farm estate. And then that was the workshop. Yeah, that could have been. Other way round? No, this was never farm estate. This was something bigger. This was workshop. I think that this was the old workshop, then they replaced it with that one. Yeah, I know farm estate is a manufactory. I'm talking about the icons, not what was in this position. That icon used to be workshop, I'm sure of it. Which is why I was a little confused when I saw that. I was like, hang on, why is that making the workshop available? Oh, it's not the workshop. It's the soldiers' households. Share maps from Canada. With France. You know what? Sure. Keeps our prestige maxed out. I'm not used to having this persistently good prestige. It's kind of weird. Right, we have got another slot available. We could declare a war straight away on the Aztecs, and I think I would like to do that. They would call in Teo-Hitlan, which is these guys. I'm okay with that. Do it. Rapid expansion. It's going to piss off Nova Castillo, and I'm going to have to help them with rebel fighting. So how much money am I currently paying Nova Castillo? Because I think I should probably increase it. They're already getting 5 ducats a month. I think I'd like to up that to 10. So as soon as this guy returns, we're going to do that. He's trying to see has been explored. Good stuff. So you go on and continue exploring. Southeast Pacific. So that should be, I think, that last bit. So then the last thing I think I may want to start colonizing would be Australia. I'd like to lock Australia down. Could go ahead of time, but there's no real reason to do that. I think I'll just hold off. There we go. Nuevo Castillo is getting a lot of money from me right now, which I'm sure that they will repay in full. Or else. Palembang's been cored. Now let the conversions begin. How many colonies do we have in place? Sufficient. Good. So once Bara has finished, either going to send to South Africa, though I'm not convinced that's really necessary. And maybe here. This is a fairly decent province. It's Savannah. It could be built up. Or we can go for Australia. See if we can get some of the gold there. Alright, Bara's done. So let's go to Luanda, recall you. Now I know that there's a lot of value to this area, and if this does turn out to be a gold province, which it has a decent chance of, yeah, we'll do it. That's a big Ajuran. What are Ajuran's ideas like? Because they're in such a good location. Are they any good? Construction cost, missionary cost, ship cost, national unrest, missionaries, possible advisors. What about Kilwa? Light ship cost, trade range. Okay, Kilwa's ideas are really good. Trade efficiency, sailor maintenance, naval maneuver, tolerance of the true faith, idea cost, mercenary maintenance. Yeah, okay, Kilwa's ideas are really good. Never really looked at the East Africans. Hey, do you think Imperator Rome is a good introductory system for a person who wants to get into Paradox games? No. My recommendations would be Stellaris or Hearts of Iron to get into Paradox games. And I honestly wouldn't even say that EU4 is a bad one to start with. I mean, there are so many tutorials and things for EU4, and EU4 has the maturity and enough large nations where you can kind of make a good go at it. So probably the best introduction for someone who is truly new to Grand Strategy is probably Stellaris, followed by Hearts of Iron, or possibly vice versa. They're roughly on the same footing. Then after that I would say U4. Like U4 still to me is my favourite one, and I still think it's a good one for new players. And tutorials get out of date soon, though, that's why you're doing this. True, but even then, like, the basics remain the same. The basics are like diplomacy, managing your economy. Like, the little things change, like exactly how trade works, centres of trade, how the different nations have new estates, that type of thing does change. But the basics are there. I find CK2 the easiest, only need to know about claims, inheritances, and family stuff. See, I still personally find CK2 more complicated than this. But that might just be because I've spent a lot more time in this. Actually, that's a good question. How long have I got in this? I've got 2,100 hours in E4. 1,800 hours in Hearts of Iron. I was actually a little bit worried that Hearts of Iron was starting to catch U4, and we can't be having that now. Then Crusader Kings. I've got 759. Stellaris. I've got 356. And Imperator. I've got 165. CK2 gets very complex in my opinion. Stellaris is the most accessible as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I would still say the Stellaris. I mean, now that the way the planets have changed, I would say it's a little bit less accessible than it used to be when you just click and drag pops onto planet tiles. I think that really was the most accessible game at that point. So I'm going to say Hearts of Iron is the most accessible, and then Stellaris. Serious question, how many hours of my life have I given to Paradox? I mean, based on that alone, I mean, between Hearts of Iron and E4, that's 3,800 hours. Plus Imperator, which is another, what, 200? That's 4,000 right there. I prefer real history versus sci-fi. In that case, Hearts of Iron. Hearts of Iron would be your introduction, then once you're confident with Hearts of Iron, you can move over to E4 easily enough. It's all about high-level strategic thinking. That's really the basis of this. Also, to throw in a bit of a curveball, the Total War series. Technically our Grand Strategy. And PC Gamer actually did a really interesting article about introduction to Grand Strategy, and their recommendation was Total War. And you could absolutely go from Total War Three Kingdoms to Europa Universalis, I think. They have a lot of similarities. Also considering CK3 when it's released, but I know that won't feel complete at launch. I'm not going to say anything about CK3 until I've actually seen it. I've done a really bad job of watching the dev diaries, partially on purpose, because I kind of want to be surprised and discover stuff for myself. And also because of Imperator. I feel like CK3 at release is going to be a lot better than Imperator was. I still maintain EU4 at release was the best Paradox release that they've done. I had very little bad to say about EU4 when it first released, and it's only gotten better. And I'm very much hoping that CK3 is going to be along a similar route. And actually, CK2 when it released was good too. And I have a lot of faith in Hendrik. Which Total War? 3 Kingdoms. I would say would be the best one. As an introduction. Total War is shallow compared to Paradox of 4X, though I can't go back. But it's a different type of game, but it's still Grand Strategy. And again, this is for somebody who is new to Grand Strategy. So shallow isn't necessarily a bad thing for somebody who is new to Grand Strategy. And from there you can ramp up the depth and the complexity. Do I think there will be an EU5 in 2 years' time? I don't know. I will be really honest and say that CK3 blindsided me. I did not expect that to be the next one. I had kind of expected a fantasy Grand Strat. I still think that's possible. Like, they've got a sci-fi Grand Strategy. I feel like there is definitely a space for a fantasy Grand Strategy. I think that's now less likely with CK3. Whether there's going to be a new EU4, I don't know. I mean, my reasoning for there not being a new CK game is, one, the lead designer of CK2 at the time, after Farius had moved on, said there wasn't going to be one, and then a year later they announced CK3. And secondly, Holy Fury was such a massive expansion that I thought that was just like providing a new platform to build on. I still kind of feel like that's the case with Emperor. I don't think they would have spent a full year retooling EU4 for Emperor, but then again, a lot of the retooling that they've done might have been also to make space for EU5, because they're still using the Clausewitz engine, and they're still likely to continue using the Clausewitz engine. So I don't know, is my short answer there. Alright, let's go and kill their armies that are marching around, just so they don't get the occupations. Although the allies should be decent enough for this, but my allies seem to be doing a pretty good job of just carpet sieging. So we'll let you continue. At some point I should probably consider religious ideas. Explorer's ready again. Trading in cocoa, we get manpower recovery. Nice. Alright, let's go and discover the Arabian Sea. I'm now being a little bit more strategic about what I'm discovering and when. Primarily because of the way that the spread of discoveries happen. So basically, 50 years after you've discovered, it's either 50 or 100, I forget exactly. I think it's 50. Discoveries will spread to your neighbours. And I want them... Sure, you can know about the middle of the Pacific, but I don't necessarily want you to know about the actual countries in the area. The administrative ideas of Carlotta. Combined with a strong moral compass, Carlotta has always had a sense for order. Decisions made by her are trusted decisions. Be it about political issues or during friendly conversation, the Queen Consort speaks her mind eloquently, something that awarded her some admiration even during her early days in Naples. Excellent. Portugal has forced Blackfoot to break their alliance with Choctaw as a great power action. That is literally the first time I've seen that action used. Huh. What are you lot doing? Conversion successful. Whoops. We'll start another one. We'll just go in order of price right now, I think. And we could also get one of these, which is going to be the national tax modifier. Gutierre de Castilla suspects neighbours. Having a spy master in our employ has mainly contributed to our intelligence gathering abroad, but our spy master Gutierre de Castilla sometimes coordinates counter-espionage as well. Recently, his investigations have uncovered a conspiracy that could only be the work of one of the neighbouring countries. Which neighbour is behind it remains unclear, but the constant exchanges of information require those behind it to be close by. So Brunei loses opinion, or Aragon loses opinion. I'm going to say Aragon. I have no real love for Aragon. At some point, I still mean to conquer them. Ah. So we can either save up to go ahead of time in admin, or we can get the National Bank, which will be an inflation reduction. Why am I already getting this? Oh, probably because I still have the usury from the papacy. Which is this one. That's what I got last time. I thought it was the taxes. Okay, I got those two icons mixed up. That's why I'm losing. That's fine. And we also need to grab a new general. And I think in this instance it's going to be the tier 3 morale of armies. Boop. Sounds good to me. So, no. I think I'd rather be ahead of time in admin. Just so I can keep the innovativeness racking up. Portugal declared war on Choctaw. Gotcha. Alright, their armies are destroyed. And we're going to be stealing a whole bunch of territory in just a moment. Jesselton's been cored, that's good. Oh, army there. Let's go and wipe that out. Military access from Portugal. Nah. If I could rival you, Portugal, I would. I think at this point. Don't need that historical friends modifier anymore. So I think what I'm going to do, again, a lot of this game I frame in ideas of maintaining a balance of power. So one of the reasons I've not gone ham on Portugal and have actually allowed them to grow their colonies and stuff when absolutely I could have locked that off is I like having the competition. Yes, we're going to have an antagonistic relationship towards the Portuguese, but I don't want to, for example, take out the home countries because then all of their colonies will just get independence. So even though I'm being antagonistic against Portugal right now, it's mostly because I want to take some of their colonial regions. I'm not going to take them all. I still want them to have a lot of presence, say, up here, so that there's going to be a friendly, not so friendly rivalry between Nuevo Castillo and Portuguese Mexico, but I want the gold. At this point, having a rivalry against Portugal probably makes sense because we have so much overlapping colonial stuff going on. But again, I don't want to unify Iberia under my flag because I want Portugal to remain a relevant power. The only one I don't really care about is Aragon, because I do want to form Spain, and to do that I have to take Aragon out. So right now, my rivals... Oh no, that's Morocco. Aragon. I could try and shift the Mamluk rivalry out. I can't do it while I'm at war. And switch that for Portugal. Who are Portugal's rivals? It's out of interest. Holland, Mali, and Morocco. Okay. And the Aztecs are now at 100% war score. Can I separate peace anyone here? Yes, Teotihuacan I can. Which was you. So I'm going to want your stuff.